Bobby Hatfield was born on August 10, 1940 in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. He is known for being half of the singing duo called the Righteous Brothers. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2003. They were formed in 1963. He was the only singer in the song Unchained Melody. That song still makes the hair on my arms stand up. When he hits the high notes towards the end of the song, it's amazing. His family moved to Southern California when he was a kid. He loved sports, but singing was his passion. He met Bill Medley while attending college in Long Beach. In 1964, they met infamous producer Phil Spector in San Francisco at a show. Phil signed them to his label, and he produced You've Lost That Lovin' Feeling. He took credit for Unchained Melody, but Bill Medley actually produced it. Later on, they had hits with You're My Soul and Inspiration and Rock and Roll Heaven. They broke up for years and reformed to tour many times. He was married twice and had 4 children. He died in 2003 from a heart attack brought on by cocaine in Kalamazoo, Michigan before a concert. He was 63 years old. Keith Whitley was born on July 1st, 1954 in Ashland, Kentucky. His birth name was Jackie Keith Whitley. He was a great country singer, songwriter, and a musician. He was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2022. My favorite song from him has always been When You Say Nothing at All. What's yours? He started drinking alcohol in his teens. He was involved in 2 serious car wrecks. His older brother was killed in a motorcycle accident. At age 14, he met future country star Ricky Skaggs and they formed a bluegrass tribute band. He joined another band in the late 70s and recorded some albums, but he wanted to make more traditional sounding country. His first hit song was released in 1985 called Miami, My Amy. He recorded 5 solo albums and had a total of 19 country hits. His passion was obvious. He once said, "It's not uncommon for me to get so wrapped up in a song that I cry several times when I sing them." In 1986, he married Lori Morgan, a budding country star. He struggled with alcohol for years. Lori wrote in her 1997 autobiography that she would tie their legs together in bed to keep him from sneaking out of bed to drink. He was married once and had 2 children. One was adopted. His star was definitely on the rise. He moved with his family to the Nashville area. He died in 1989 from alcohol poisoning. His blood alcohol content was 0.47, almost 6 times the amount to be declared intoxicated in Tennessee. He influenced many. I often wonder what he could have accomplished if he'd lived longer. He was 34 years old. Dee Dee Ramone was born on September 18, 1951 in Fort Lee, Virginia. His birth name was Douglas Glenn Colvin. He was a songwriter, bass player, and a founding member of the punk band called the Ramones. He's the one who would shout out, 1, 2, 3, 4 before their songs. They released their debut album in 1976. He started out as a singer, but he couldn't handle singing for a whole show. He was in the band from 1974 to 1989. They were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. He famously thanked only himself during his speech.
I'd like to congratulate myself and thank myself and give myself a big pat on the back. Thank you, Dee Dee.
His family moved around a lot since his father was in the United States Army. He started using drugs as a teenager and he was addicted to various substances most of his adult life. It was his idea to adopt the last name of Ramone for the band. After quitting the band, he became a rapper and went by the name Dee Dee King. It was horribly awesome. He toured a lot and released albums until his death. He continued to write songs for the Ramones. He played with them at their final show in LA in 1996. He was in a movie called Bikini Bandits in 2002. He was married twice and had no children. He died in June of 2002 from a heroin overdose. He was 50 years old. Jimi Jamison was born on August 23, 1951 in Durant, Mississippi. He was a singer and a songwriter. You may not be familiar with his name, but there's a good chance you've heard some of his songs. He was a busy man who was in many bands and worked with some big names in the music industry. Here's a fun fact. He co-wrote and sang the theme song to the TV show called Baywatch called I'm Always Here. His greatest success came when he joined the band called Survivor in 1984. He replaced the original singer named Dave Bickler, who needed vocal cord surgery. Jimmy didn't sing Eye of the Tiger, but he sang The Search Is Over, which is my favorite song from them, Burning Heart from the Rocky IV soundtrack, High on You, I Can't Hold Back, and Is This Love, just to name a few. Let me know if you've heard any of those songs. He grew up in Memphis, Tennessee, and taught himself how to play the piano and the guitar. A few of his early bands included the Debuts, Target, and Cobra. He was invited to join the band Deep Purple in 1989, but he declined so he could continue his solo career. He kept quitting and rejoining Survivor. The band sued him after he started touring with his own version of Survivor. They settled it and they got back together until Jimmy passed away. He was married 3 times and had 3 children. He died in 2014 from a hemorrhagic brain stroke caused by acute methamphetamine intoxication. He also had cardiovascular disease. He was 63 years old. Paul Gray was born on April 8, 1972 in Los Angeles, California. He was known for being the bass player, backup singer, songwriter, and founding member of the band Slipknot. He was also known as Number 2 and The Pig. When he was growing up, he started out playing guitar, but he switched to the bass. He was in several bands before founding Slipknot in 1995. In the interviews I've seen with him, he seemed cool and down to earth. In 2003, he was arrested for DUI and drug possession. Also that year, the band staged an intervention because his heroin habit was out of control. He said of his addiction, quote, "It's not that you don't want to quit, you just can't. Halfway through the record, I ended up going to rehab," unquote. His wife Brenna gave him an ultimatum, and he was clean for a few years. He relapsed in 2008. Paul died in May of 2010 from a deadly mixture of morphine and fentanyl. He also had heart disease. He was 38 years old. His daughter named October was born later that year. Robbin Crosby was born on August 4th, 1959 in La Jolla, California. His birth name was Robinson Lance Crosby. He was the original guitar player, a songwriter, and a founding member of the band called Rat. Jake E. Lee was also a guitarist, but he left early on and he was replaced by Warren DeMartini. At first they were called Mickey Rat. He played acoustic guitar on the song called Never Say Die from John Bon Jovi's Blaze of Glory album. He grew up playing sports and then became obsessed with the guitar. He co-wrote many of the band's hits, including Back for More, Lay It Down, Round and Round, I Want a Woman, You're in Love, and Wanted Man. What was your favorite Rat song? He was dating Tawny Katane when he joined Rat. That's why she was on the album artwork for an EP and Out of the Cellar. She also appeared in the Rat video for Back for More. He struggled for years in a couple of different bands before making it big. Robbin was a talented guitar player who seemed to be living the dream. His band sold millions of albums, and there were new groupies in every city they played. He became addicted to heroin and alcohol, and that started his downward spiral. He went to rehab numerous times. It all came crashing down when he was diagnosed with HIV in 1994. He had left Rat 3 years earlier. He made the announcement that it progressed to AIDS in 2001. He was in a couple of short-lived bands, and he worked as a producer. He said, "What has drug addiction done for me? It's cost me my career, my fortune, basically my sex life when I found out I was HIV positive." He was married once, to a Playboy playmate of course, and had no children. He also said, "When I die, nobody cry at my funeral. In fact, let's all have a party. I've lived the life of 10 men. I lived all my dreams and more." He died in 2002 from a heroin overdose. He was 42 years old.